Coming up at 6, the man who robbed the Williamstown Bank in 2017 speaks at his sentencing today. WTAP News at 6 is next.
Live from our studios at One Television Plaza, this is WTAP News at 6.
The man who robbed the Williamstown Bank in 2017 speaks at his sentencing today. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Phyllis Smith. The man who robbed the Williamstown Bank a few years ago is sentenced to 10 years in prison. William Johnson, also known as Billy Whiteshoes, pleaded guilty to first-degree robbery in December. His sentencing was supposed to happen earlier this month, but was delayed until Tuesday while attorneys tried to determine how much time served credit he should be recommended for. The state recommended he get 1,185 days credit, but Judge J.D. Bean only credited him for 819. Johnson told the court he wanted to change and apologized.
I like to apologize to everyone in my life that I've ever harmed. And the only way that that apology is going to mean anything is if I change the behavior. I have to change the behavior. I wish there was someplace you could send me besides prison. I really do. But there's not.
Johnson is also accused of robbing the People's Bank branch in Marietta last year. Turning to the weather, meteorologist Kirk Greenfield joins us now with the first look at your forecast. Kirk.
Well, it's a very warm and sultry day in the Mid-Ohio Valley, one of the warmest that we've seen this month. Right now, the view on the Highmark, West Virginia Skycam says we're at 84, but it feels like 87. That's the heat index because of the relative humidity of 56%, the winds from the south at 8, and the pressure 29.94 inches and falling. Well, when we take a look at the evening planner, we expect it to be about 78 just after sunset, mostly clear and still warm, and we'll only settle to about 70 by midnight. We'll see some increasing clouds as we get past midnight and maybe even some showers by tomorrow morning's morning commute. But we'll talk about that forecast when I return in just a moment. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirk. A crash this morning involving a blue car and a trash truck puts one person in the hospital. The crash happened in front of the Sam's Club on Grand Central Avenue in Vienna. When our reporter got there, a box truck was laying on its side and the car had significant damage. Police say one person was hurt and transported to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Vienna Police Department and the Vienna Fire Department were on the scene of the wreck. A person is sent to the hospital with injuries following a crash today in Parkersburg. The driver of a Toyota RAV4 hit the traffic light at the intersection of 4th Street and Avery Street in Parkersburg. The crash happened after the driver of a Jeep Wrangler veered left of center and hit the driver of the RAV4. The driver of the RAV4 was sent to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Jeep is at fault for improper signaling but is not hurt. The Parkersburg Police and Fire Departments were at the scene of the crash and are still investigating. One person is dead after a Monday evening car crash in Gallia County. According to the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the crash happened around 6:30 on County Road 34. A news release from the agency says that 64-year-old Danny Thompson from Gallia Police lost control of his truck going around a curve. His truck went off the right side of the road and hit the guardrail, then a tree, and flipped over and fell down a steep embankment. The car landed on its wheels in a creek. The Highway Patrol says Thompson was not wearing a seatbelt and died at the scene. The road was closed for about 4 hours because of the crash. The increase in COVID-19 cases among Ohio children is greater than those in adults during the past month. Governor Mike DeWine this afternoon hosted Children's Hospitals CEOs from across the state. Their message was the same. Until they can be vaccinated, children need to wear masks in school, and people of all ages need to get shots. Vaccinations in children under 12 have not yet been authorized. More than half of Ohio's public schools, including several in Washington County, require masks. Overall, more than 3,500 people are hospitalized in Ohio with COVID-19, compared with 200 people in early July. Parkersburg City Council tries again tonight with 2 unresolved measures from a meeting last month. Up again tonight for first reading is an ordinance granting civil service employees 50-cent an hour retention pay on 10, 15, and 20-year service anniversaries. The measure was tabled last month, partly due to concerns about how much it would cost the city. City officials say the pay increases are needed to retain experienced city workers, notably police officers. And a resolution seeking bidders for the building that previously housed the Point Park Marketplace is up again for passage tonight. The marketplace closed 2 years ago, and the city of Parkersburg is seeking to sell the property. A similar resolution did not get a second at Council's August 10th meeting, and as a result, died without discussion. A group of Williamstown high schoolers and a nonprofit organization made sure their school and the local police department got some love today. Hallie Landis, the student body president at Williamstown High, worked with Principal Ward and the statewide organization called Education Alliance to spruce up the school a bit. They power washed the front of the high school building, trimmed some bushes, and planted new flowers around the school. Landis and Amelia Courts, the CEO of Education Alliance, also presented a certificate of appreciation to Williamstown Police Chief Sean Graham.
It was a service project for our team, the Education Alliance, so we tried to honor them with more than just a ceremony, but also by showing acts of service ourselves, and then of course by recognizing them and honoring them for their service.
Landis says the school is still reflecting on the anniversary of 9/11 and wanted to continue their recognition of that somber day by honoring local first responders. Chief Graham says it's reassuring to know that kids who were not born when 9/11 happened are learning about that day and that they respect the work first responders do every day. Hear more from Landis and Chief Graham tonight at 10 and 11. Still ahead, Nicholas grows to hurricane strength just before reaching Texas's coast. Next at 6.
And bright sunshine warmed us today to the highest temperatures of the week. But will they stay that warm? That's next.
You're watching WTAP News at 6 with Phyllis Smith, Kirk Greenfield with your pinpoint weather forecast, and Ryan Wilson with sports.
The Texas coastline is now assessing the damage left by Hurricane Nicholas, a storm that reached Category 1 status just before landfall. Forecasters have urged everyone in the storm's path to be ready for possible flooding. The storm has already dumped more than a foot of rain on parts of Texas. NBC's Dan Scheneman reports.
Nicholas grew to hurricane strength just before it reached the Texas coastline, punishing winds in some 14 inches of rain in some areas.
You got a picture about 3 feet of water just coming through and taking everything out.
Shortly after landfall, Nicholas lost strength, but had enough punch to do some damage.
At this time, our biggest challenge is power. We are reporting that about 33% of the counties without power. We have crews from all 3 of the power providers here working right now, doing their best to get that restored as quickly as possible.
Forecasters said the primary threat from Nicholas is rain and flooding.
We got 3 feet of water in here, which fried all of our equipment and is going to shut us down for probably about a week.
Heavy rain, a big concern in Louisiana, a state still recovering from Hurricane Ida and now bracing for a visit from Nicholas. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Let's go to Kirk Greenfield for another look at the forecast. Kirk?
Well, hopefully the hurricane and its effects will remain along the Gulf Coast, although we are seeing some moisture and some pre-warmed air, so to speak, in the Mid-Ohio Valley. It's not quite the same thing. Let's take a look at our radar satellite composite. And again, no serious echoes at this point, hardly any clouds. It's all percolating to the north of I-70, just at the top of your screen. Nothing in our home viewing counties of note. So when we take a look at the view here in Marietta, look at that beautiful sky, almost a calm river, still a stern wheel, 1 or 2 along the levee here as people wrap up after the Stern Wheel Festival. 84 right now, it feels like 87. The dew point is 67, relative humidity 56%, winds out of the south at 8, and the pressure 29.94 inches and falling. Golden sunshine there. The allergy alert says pollen levels in the medium category expected to be washed down by some of the showers over the next 2 days, but plantain, nettles, and ragweed are in the mix. The local temperatures, 87 up in Columbus is warmest of all, 85 at Charleston and Huntington and Athens, not far behind. We're at 84, same for Zanesville. Winds from the south, 7 to 8 miles per hour. That's just enough to keep the temperatures climbing and buoyed up with clear skies and bright sunshine. That accounts for the warmth and the heat that we're dealing with. Regional heat index, when you factor in the humidity as well, just add a couple more degrees. Now, last hour, we were seeing several 90s on board here from Athens up in Columbus as well. It's knocked off just a degree or two as we're starting to cool off for the evening hours. Radar echoes nothing in our area, but when we go down to the Gulf Coast, yeah, here it is, the former hurricane soaking the Gulf Coast. Not expected to really affect our weather, but some of this moisture is working its way up the Mississippi River Valley and will generally increase our humidity level. Although the storm is not tracking here, our next weather maker is going to be that line of showers draped, that cold front draped across Michigan, that very slow moving front that when it gets here may trigger some storms, possibly some severe storms in Ohio. We're stopping about 4:30 in the morning when we see a few showers here and maybe another round in the early afternoon, but it's in the evening, pow, where we think the real punch will come through. We're not expecting severe storms here, but the potential is there. When we take a look at future casts into Thursday, things are breaking up and improving. So here's the convective outlook. Again, we're in the thunderstorm range. When we take a look at tonight, 67, few storms developing after midnight as we get into tomorrow, 77 with rain and storms, again, as we discussed. So we've got the caution light on. As we go through the weekend, the temperatures rebound and come back. And it certainly looks like Friday, Football Friday, is going to be a dry affair. So we've turned on the fair weather light for that. Tonight's winner for the Sketch of the Outdoors contest, sponsored by People's Bank, is Melted Land by Gwyneth Flynn, age 10, from Parkersburg. If you'd like to enter the daily contest, submit your digital copy of your child's outdoor artwork on our WTAP webpage. Look for the entry Sketch of the Outdoors and follow the directions to upload and enter. A new winner is drawn each weekday and presented at both 6 and 11 p.m. newscasts. Phyllis?
Thank you, Kirk. Still ahead, a special guest comes to speak in an assembly for Fort Fry today. That story is next at 6. A special guest comes to speak at an assembly for Fort Fry today. Laura Bowen met this speaker at the local school he once attended. Laura.
That special guest is Dan Hughes, who went on to coach WNBA basketball and helped lead Team USA to the Olympics. For Dan Hughes, Fort Fry is where it all started. In fact, it was a Fort Fry High School basketball team that inspired him to coach. He says he was only 7, watching the team make the state championships when the dream began. He hopes students at the assembly see themselves in him as a kid who grew up in Lowell, Ohio.
I want them to understand that they can find what they're looking for growing up right here. Because luckily, it may take a while, but they can find all their dreams, they can find all their aspirations right here in this community and growing up right here.
It's kind of crazy, to see, since Fort Fry is such a small town and everything, that, someone from around here can go to that high of a level in something that they're so interested and passionate about.
Hughes said plenty of people helped him through his school years, and now he hopes he can do that for the next generation. One of the biggest lessons he's learned from his career that he shared with students is to embrace the grind. Hughes says now that he enters retirement, he wants to give back, and what better place than the school that it all started at? Back to you.
Thanks, Laura. Coming up in sports, the West Virginia Mountaineers got their first win last week, but they are facing a tough challenge against a ranked opponent this week. Ryan Wilson looks ahead to the matchup coming up next in sports.
You can download the free Pinpoint Weather app from WTAP and get all the weather information you'd like right in the palm of your hand, downloaded to your phone. Tonight, just after sunset, will be about 78, mostly clear and warm yet. And we'll dip below 70 as we get past midnight, but the clouds don't start till after midnight, and then maybe rain in the morning commute.
Thank you, Kirk. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tonight at 11.